Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Institute for Sustainable Development, EPLO, and the CoastalPro project, I'm delighted to welcome you to today's masterclass on sustainable tourism practices, organized in the context of the European Maritime Day in my country. My name is Marina Deligianni, and I have the pleasure of serving you as your moderator today. I am the Training and Community Manager at the Institute for Sustainable Development, EPLO. Before we dive in, a few housekeeping notes. Please keep your microphones muted throughout the session to minimize the background noise. Please feel free to share your comments in the chat box. And if you have any questions for our speakers, please use the Q&A function, where we'll have dedicated time for the questions after each thematic section. Today's objective is to explore how sustainability, innovation, experience design, and branding are shaping the future of coastal tourism. We have an exciting lineup of speakers today and engaging discussions ahead. We can start with Mr. Odysseas Spyroglou. It is a pleasure to introduce him to you. He's the project coordinator of the CoastalPro project. Can you please mute your microphones as we will start the presentations now. Thank you very much. Mr. Odysseas Spyroglou, he's the project coordinator of the CoastalPro project, and he will share an introduction to the initiative and its goals. Odysseas, over to you.
Thank you, Marina. Welcome, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank all our speakers who have taken the time to join us today, and I'm sure that we will be able to listen to exciting things from them. I will not take a lot of time. I will just want to give you the context why we are here and what is CoastalPro after all. So let me share my screen, and there we are. So CoastalPro is an EU co-funded project. The idea is that we want to create a playful experience, a playful learning experience on coastal tourism skills. And to do that, we do that because we believe that coastal tourism is one of the pillars of blue economy. And we want to add a little bit more fun into the learning process. And our vision is to improve the blue skills of professionals and, of course, attract youngsters to this exciting sector. Our hope is that we will be able to create innovative, eco-friendly, and sustainable tourism experience through this whole process. We have an approach that is based on a simulation, simulating the real experience. So we work in cohorts so that we can move together and we can benefit from this collaboration. We have introduced simulation scenarios, so the students that are attending the course are working on their own ideas, trying to formulate them and come up with some concrete solutions. And we have a peer evaluation where other students, other participants of this course evaluate and give feedback on these ideas. Of course, to make it more interesting and more engaging, we have involved a number of gaming elements to keep people engaged and keep them up working on their project. And we try to do that in as speedy and flexible as possible. So it's just a 6 to 9 week program that leads to a certification on coastal tourism. We offer 6 learning modules, starting with the stay, which covers the different types of tourism and tourism experience. We go to the experience where we explore the accommodation, the food, the beverage, all these things that make an interesting experience of hospitality. Then we go to the adrenaline, which is basically the concept of adding an extra level of experience in hospitality, either with water sports or some other extreme sports or some beach-based activities, always with a focus on safety and inclusiveness. And then we go to 3 more modules, which are more specialized, with the environment being one of the most important of them, and covering the environmental, the social, and governance topics. Following them with destination branding, the brand, the marketing tactics that you need to build up your business, and finally recapping with the business tools that you need and the strategy on sustainability, not limited to the environment, but to the general sustainability of the business. We have 4 cohorts of training. As I said, that we want to move people together. So we are already started and completed and run a cycle of skilling, the new generation. This is dedicated to students and graduates that are new to tourism. So we are talking about people that are not necessarily coming from the tourism sector. Then we have another cohort focusing on hospitality and tourism students and graduates, where the first 3 modules are not delivered in their entirety. They are there, but we focus mainly on the 3 last modules. And come September, we will open the 2 new cohorts, which will be more dedicated to more experienced professionals and entrepreneurs, and we will also open the final cohort, the last cohort, which focuses on entrepreneurs that are interested in creating their own business in coastal tourism. Now that we have built our community, we have already started a community, and we have more than, I believe, 150 students already either having complete the first cohort or are currently registered in our program. We will also start building the community with a support mechanism for coaching and mentoring these students in the first steps of their career. A crowdfunding component where we will help students to be exposed into real life situations, especially for the first cohort. We're talking about students that have an entrepreneurship idea, and of course, with internships and apprenticeships from all the partners that are related in tourism in our project. What is very interesting is that we are not offering this course without any incentives. Indeed, we believe that incentives are very important, and we are offering all participants of the course some really exciting and exclusive prizes, like board stay at Surf Club Keros, individual career sessions, guaranteed spots in the Blue Economy Masterclass, and of course, participations in some September camps again in Surf Club Keros, and internships. As we move on, we will offer more prizes. These prizes are for these running cohorts, but every cohort will offer new prizes, new apprenticeships, new internships, and the opportunity to visit Limnos at Surf Club Keros. We have created an affiliated program, a partnership program. So this is open to institutions that are training providers in tourism, and we have already began negotiations with 3 such institutions. We will be able to announce them in the following weeks, and we will work with them not only to include them in our community and expand our portfolio, but we will work with them to make also our training offer more interesting. So it will be a 2-way collaboration. And of course, we'll do the same with businesses that are operating in the tourism sector. We have already started this cohort that we are running on March 10. But I believe that even for those that are watching us now, it's still time to start. The modules are 6, but They are not very difficult, and they do not require a lot of work. The only thing that requires a little bit of work is the final project, which will give you the certificate and will recap everything that we have learned. And this is a simulation project where you will be able to present your idea, pitch what you have learned, and showcase it to the rest of the world. And of course, we will have a final event to present all these ideas. That's all. These are the contact details, and I will be happy to have you coming back to us with more questions. And either if you're interested in joining the project as a partner, or if you'd like to promote it to your students, or for the students that we are listening to us, this is their chance to learn a lot by experts that we have invited, and use this masterclass as an inspiration for their capstone project that is coming up. That's all that I had to say. I hope that let me stop sharing.
Thank you, Odysseas. That was quite an impressive overview. I think we're ready to move forward. Our next speaker.
Before we continue, I just admitted a few more people. They have missed my presentation, but let's repeat that. We will share all presentations with and the video, of course, of the masterclass with everybody connected and everybody that has registered. So, thank you.
Also, you can find on the chat box more information about the project. Thank you, Christina, for adding this. And without any delays, we will move on to our next speaker. Is Mr. Spyros Kouvelis. He is board member of the EU mission Restore Our Ocean and Waters and director at the Institute for Sustainable Development, EPLO. And he will present Mission Ocean. Spyros, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Marina, and thank you all for being with us. Thank you to the speakers and also to the participants. I was thinking that maybe instead of speaking about the mission, I could speak about the injustices of life, because I was looking at the pictures that Odysseas was sharing, and then Debbie will also be speaking about the amazing things they do with sailing in Oman, and we're just sitting in an office and speaking about these things, but I will focus on the mission. So
you realize that this is not where I am at the moment, Spyros.
I don't know.
You do realize that.
I do, yes. So hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. It's a real pleasure to be with you, and I want to heartily congratulate and thank all of you, both from the side of the CoastalPro project, but also of the Institute for Sustainable Development of the European Public Law Organizations for this for this very interesting project, which actually empowers the creativity and the knowledge and awareness of people around the protection and management, correct management of the marine environment, which, as I will explain, is also the objective of the EU mission for oceans and waters. I will take you through this presentation, and then if you have any questions, you can ask me. But let me start by saying that the EU mission is on the restoration of ocean and waters, is one of the 5 missions that the European Union has established some years ago. The other missions are looking at issues not related to the ocean and waters. They're looking at issues like food production, land production, climate change, key health issues, including cancer and so on. And this one is a mission that is looking at what we call the hydrosphere, so the complete nexus of the sea, but also of the freshwater ecosystems that contribute to the sea. So the rivers that flow in, the closed lakes and everything. The objective of the project is to provide, as the title says, concrete solutions for the challenges that the sea is looking at. And with the target of 2030, the EU mission to restore our ocean and waters aims to protect and restore the health of our ocean and waters through research and innovation, citizen engagement, and blue investments. So both research and innovation. And why is this? Because the EU missions are very much related to the EU Horizon research and innovation programs. The EU Horizon program is the biggest research and innovation program in the world, with a budget of some hundreds of billions actually implemented through research institutions, innovative actions, and so on. but also very importantly, citizen engagement, on which I will speak in a minute, and the creation, the real reinforcement of a blue economy through blue investments. The mission is based on a regional approach. Now, the regions in the mission terminology are called lighthouses, and they just wanted to emulate, if you like, the tradition in the seas to be guided by the lighthouses. So we have 4 lighthouses, which are selected as sites to pilot, demonstrate, develop, and deploy the mission activities across the EU seas and river basins. The first one, not in any particular priority order of speaking, is the Baltic and North Sea basin, where the main objective is to make the blue economy carbon neutral and circular, but of course is also looking at issues related to pollution, to protection of ecosystems, and so on. The second lighthouse is the Mediterranean Sea basin as a whole, Mediterranean being one of the most important areas, both in terms of biodiversity, but also as a hotspot for climate change. And of course, being a closed sea, the issue of pollution is very important. So the prevention and elimination of pollution of the ocean, seas, and waters is one of the primary objectives of this lighthouse. And then we have the Danube River Basin, including the Danube River and the Black Sea, and the Atlantic and Arctic coast, in which the protection and restoration of marine and freshwater ecosystems and biodiversity are high priorities. In the Mediterranean Lighthouse, and I'm just referring to this because most of the cases we'll be discussing, and I understand most of the participants today are Mediterranean based. So the target is to reduce at least 50% plastic litter at sea, to reduce by at least 30% microplastics released into the environment. And you probably know quite a lot about how disastrous the spread of microplastics is in living organisms and in the natural environment, and to reduce by at least 50% nutrient losses and the use and risk of chemical pesticides that flow into the Mediterranean Sea through the rivers, not only the Danube, but the European and non-European rivers, including the Nile and so on. One of the tools that is used very much in order to implement the mission is what we call the mission charter. The mission charter is a document that expresses the objectives of the mission, and everyone, both physical persons and organizations, both public and private, can become mission charter signatories. The objective is to mobilize all the stakeholders to achieve the goals of the mission, to strengthen the cooperation by aligning the efforts, and to achieve a critical mass for the transformation that is needed to restore the oceans and waters by 2030. Again, I repeat that the mission charter is a voluntary process. It does not entail any engagements in terms of obligation, financial or otherwise. But if somebody opens up and reads the mission charter and then does what is called pledging an action, so for example, if someone not necessarily by the European Union. So, for example, Oman Sail could be pledging an action for the mission, just to give an example. It is actually contributing to the mission charter, the activity that you are leading. And just a very rough guess, I think that easily 30 to 40% of the people that are today following this webinar would be able to pledge an action because they are related to the sea in some ways. Now, the important thing of pledging an action is that we consider it a vital first step for European citizens, researchers, innovators, businesses, but also non-European, as I said before, and public authorities to mobilize resources and take collective action for the mission's objectives. The other very important benefit from pledging an action is that once you have signed the charter, you have contributed to the charter, you become part of the global community of the EU mission. And that means that you have lots of opportunities to participate in things, exchange with partners, even develop joint projects in which you would be able to participate in the Horizon program or others. One other aspect of the EU mission is the European digital twin of the ocean. As it is very often said, we know much more about the moon than we know about the bottom of the sea. And this is true. We, in terms of research and knowledge building for the ocean, we lack a lot of knowledge. I have to comment that especially after the start of the new administration of the United States, the research efforts that were carried out jointly between Europe and the United States have taken a very, very big step backwards because a lot of funding from the EU has remained in place, but from the United States has been curtailed or totally stopped. And therefore, this effort that we're making to create a European digital twin of the ocean, as you can see in this graph here is to actually combine the data lake, as we call it, so all sources of information and data for the ocean, with the research engines based mostly on artificial intelligence and all the systems that are needed to have as much as possible a clear view and a digital twin of the ocean, so that we can use this as a decision-making tool for making more informed decisions and more sustainable decisions on how to manage the ocean. The sectors that are important when we're discussing about this, and I will come to the coastal tourism, which, as you see, figures as first one here, are divided in two. We have the more traditional sectors in which we have activities in the sea, including coastal tourism, oil and gas, fish processing, shipbuilding, marine fisheries, ports, aquaculture, transport, and so on. All of those, including infrastructure, maritime transport, finance, and investment. And among them, we consider the coastal tourism, which is also the objective of the CoastalPro project, a very important one because it touches a lot of families, a lot of working people, but also it is very important economically. How important it is economically, we had the opportunity to understand how important it is because of COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. So in 2021, the coastal tourism sector recovered by being hit very badly by COVID-19, but it still did not reach the pre-crisis level, and it's still climbing to reach the levels of pre-crisis level. And still in 2021, the overall gross value added of the tourism sector was 49.9 billion, 50 billion euro, which was still 38% lower than what you had back in 2019. You can imagine that we're only talking about 49 billion. This is the size of the economy of a country. And if you take into account the subsectors as well that you consider in coastal tourism, you have issues related to accommodation, night spent tourist accommodation establishment, transport, maritime proportion of seaborne, road, rail, and air passenger travel that is related to coastal tourism, and of course all other expenditures, including food and beverage, cultural, recreational goods. Recreational is one that we saw very much in Odysseas' presentation, purchase of water sport equipment and clothing. This broad view of the sector's turnover amounts to $140 billion. 140 billion euro, which is definitely the size of a country's economy. And this is very much growing because the maritime sector is increasing. Now, on the side of the needs, we have to consider that if we want to be able to continue enjoying the benefits of the sea also for coastal tourism, we need also to spend money. And just an indication from the World Travel and Tourism Council is that we need to spend around $65 billion a year annually to shield coastal and marine tourism from climate crisis, because there are a lot of effects and so on. I do not need to explain this more. We'll be able to discuss it later in the discussion. But also there are very good practices that we need to take into account. So here I just share with you 5 examples. It's not like a guideline, it's just examples of how we can promote sustainability at sea, especially in the field of maritime tourism and sea tourism. So improving energy efficiency in everything that we do, practicing safe anchorage, which is very important, for example, for the Posidonia or other living beds of ecosystems on the bottom of the sea, preventing the introduction of invasive species, which we have seen quite a lot, not only through ballast water, but through other activities as well, responsible fishing, and preventing marine pollution. These are just some examples of things that need to be taken into account. And I think that the people that are involved in coastal tourism are and can be the best advocates and ambassadors for such activities, especially when they are part of the actual environment. There is also the emerging blue economy sectors like marine renewables, desalination, very important and increasingly important also for the Mediterranean region, coastal protection, marine biotechnology. All of these are important industries that are coming up, are producing a lot of economic value and a lot of new jobs and innovation, and those need to be also considered. Speaking of the Mediterranean, I wanted also to single out, and I'm just 2 slides away from closing, 2 major events that were held, the first one and will be the second one. So in 2024, we had the Our Ocean event that took place in Greece. And this is a global gathering of people and institutions and countries that are interested in the protection of oceans. Some important commitments were phrased there, and of course, it is very important to have them followed up and see how they go. And very importantly, in June this year, 2025, in the city of Nice, in south of France, there will be the 3rd UN Oceans Conference. The previous 2 took place one in Lisbon and the previous one, I don't remember where right now. But this one is expected to be one of the biggest that ever took place. It will be very important to see how the countries are positioned around that, especially taking into account, again, the change in United States. But we know that there will be very important commitments from the side of at least European countries and other countries, and joint efforts in having better management and better governance for the oceans. One thing that will be announced that will be, I think, as probably one of the most important things is this. On the way to, we call it UNOC 3, that's the United Nations Ocean Conference 3, the European Union has agreed actually to create what is called the European Ocean Pact. And I had the honor as member of the EU mission to be one of the writers of the European Ocean Pact, which is how we can advance sustainability around the ocean and the seas. And that means that we try to take proactive action in Europe, not only to manage better the seas, but to try to make sure that the blue economy and the development that we have in the oceans will not repeat the mistakes of the past as we did for the development on the land. So for every activity that we do, we try to secure that it's based on good research and knowledge, that we have assessed in previous steps what is the necessity for protective measures of what we do, and also to involve communities and so on, so that the governance around the oceans needs to be very good. I think I will stop here. Stay tuned in view of UNOC 3, especially all of you that are connected to the ocean in some way as users or managers or business people or researchers, because there will be a lot of things coming up. Our institute will be present at UNOC 3, of course, and of course the mission will be present there. And I think you will remember the day that we're having this today, when the European Ocean Pact will be announced by the European Union Commission. I will stop with this. You can keep this, but it will be also in the shared information so that you can connect to Mission Ocean, EU missions, and the Horizon EU. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Spyros. We will continue with Ms. Christina Deligianni, Policy and Programs Director at the Institute for Sustainable Development, EPLO, and she will do an introduction to sustainability and ESG in the tourism sector. Christina, you can start.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation, Marina, to present our work on sustainability and ESG. I have tried to condense a 3-hour presentation into 10 minutes. Hopefully, I will make it on time. So we have worked a lot on sustainability and ESG, and there is a full module on this field on the free course on coastal tourism that you can find in the chat. So
I think we lost your presentation, Christina.
Oh, you did? Oh no, no. Let me just share it again then. Is it okay now?
Can you change it to presenters mode?
Yes, I am. Is it okay?
Yes. No, it's
Yes.
perfect.
Yes.
Great, great. So I'm Christina Deligianni, the Policy and Programs Director of the Institute for Sustainable Development, EPLO. So first things first, let's talk a little bit about sustainable development. If you have taken the course, there's a whole section dedicated to that. If not, I will just be giving you a very brief introduction to that. So according to the United Nations, and this is a definition that was established back in 1987, sustainable development is the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So when we have questions about what is it in for me, or why should I care? Well, the answer is you should be caring about the future generations, about your children and grandchildren. So when we create anything, a product, a service, a new business, there should be 3 P's that should be on our mind. People, so you are creating a service or a product or a sustainable tourism experience for people, and you have to take into account the social variables such as the community, education, equity, social resources, health, well-being, quality of life. profit as well, because a business, especially a business, has to be profitable. So all the economic variables that are dealing with the bottom line and the cash flow, but also the planet. So the environmental variables such as natural resources, water, air quality, energy conservation, land use, marine restoration or marine conservation as well. So if you have these 3 Ps in mind, then you will be having a business or a product that are sustainable. Otherwise, if you only have 1 or 2, then you will be having loads of, you will be missing out on a lot of things. And I will be showing you how you connect that to the ESG criteria later on. So this is a really nice photo, and it was taken 10 years ago. It shows part of the Iberian Peninsula and the North Africa. 100 years ago, this wouldn't have been possible. This has been possible because of the advancements that we have made in technology, and especially the introduction of electricity to big urban places. Of course, given what happened last day in Spain, the south of France, and Portugal, I'm not really sure if this would be applicable, but there you have it. Everything changed with the introduction of the Industrial Revolution, the introduction of steam power, the introduction of electricity, and we have made so many advancements, both technological but also on the social side. Because of that, food was actually made available to big quantities, to big chunks of the population. This is a photo from the Midwest in the US. Lots of advancements also in medicine. This is one of the very first polio vaccine photographs back in the 1950s in the US. But all these advancements did indeed lead to population growth, because people were not dying because of hunger, because of famine, but it has led to a lot of discrepancies. This is a photo, this is a map, a graph from 10 years ago that really shows the discrepancies when it comes to gross domestic product in various geographies. This also meant that although food is available in many countries, in some other geographies, especially in Africa or parts of Latin America, or for instance, Timor-Leste, people are still dying of hunger. There are children that are malnourished, or women that suffer from anemia. And of course, climate variables, climate extremities lead to this to these hunger games, I would say. And the discrepancies that I mentioned before are also prevalent when it comes to access to health. Access to health meaning access to drugs, to doctors, to hospitals. And the burden of disease, as you can see in some geographies, again, Africa, Afghanistan, Timor-Leste, some parts of Latin America are very prevalent. With technological advancements, natural resource overuse has also come. So this is a graph that really shows the footprint, the ecological footprint when it comes to some countries compared to others. On the right-hand side, you can see some of the countries, including the EU, Japan, and the US, that are overusing the natural resources in comparison to the population, and in comparison to other geographies such as Africa, India, Indonesia, where you have large amounts, large chunks of the world population staying. All these advancements and all these discrepancies have led to 2 major issues that we face every day: climate change and biodiversity loss. So you might have seen what happened in January this year in Los Angeles. One of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the US, in the world actually, was burned to pieces due to wildfires. So wildfires or natural phenomena, natural disasters can happen anywhere because of climate change. This is a photo of the glacier in the borders between France and Switzerland. And you can see where the glacier was in 1990 and where it is now. It's 200 meters of glacier that has been gone in less than 30 years. And Spyros before mentioned the nexus of the ocean and waters. Glaciers are part of the hydrosphere, and they're very much important when it comes to biodiversity, when it comes to water and food security, but they're also very much connected to climate change. And biodiversity loss, a lot of species, especially in the last century, have gone extinct. Amphibians, mammals, birds, and essentially 1 in 4 species is at the risk of extinction. And you might ask, or you might say, why should I care? You know, if we have enough frogs or enough coral reefs, and I'm sure Allard will be talking about coral reefs afterwards. Well, biodiversity loss is related to many risks. Food insecurity, you might have heard about bees dying and how this is related to food. Health risks, climate change impact that is being increased because of biodiversity loss. There's also a lot of business risk and a lot of risk related to culture and also indigenous community livelihoods. And when you think about business risk, think about what this could mean in a tourism and hospitality context. You might have realized that this circle here is the Sustainable Development Goals. So the UN back in 2015 promoted and submitted the UN Sustainable Goals to the UN General Assembly. This is the global response to all these challenges that we are facing now. And you might say that, you know, the Sustainable Development Goals only refer to the environment or to climate, but everything is interrelated. So, you know, poverty, social aspects and governance aspects are also part of the Sustainable Development Goals. So when we talk about quality education or gender equality, this is again Sustainable Development Goals. So as you see, the environment, social aspects, society, local communities, but also governance issues, and these are issues related to goals 16 and 17, are very much embedded and contextualized into the SDGs. I'm not really sure how many of you know are aware of the ESG principles or ESG criteria. If you have taken the course, you might be, you certainly are familiar. If not, I will just give a really very short overview. ESG criteria are now becoming very much mainstream because if you go to a bank and you want a loan, if you're a business owner, most probably the bank will be asking you whether you are ESG aligned. So ESG stands for environment, society and governance, very much related to the SDGs. And these are criteria that a business or a country or a project should adhere to. And when we talk about the environment, and the environmental criteria are very easier rather to measure and to monitor. We talk about energy usage, we talk about energy efficiency, we talk about climate change policies and strategy, waste reduction, biodiversity loss, greenhouse gas emissions, carbon footprint. These are very relevant to the tourism industry. If you book a flight nowadays, you're asked whether you want to give back for the carbon footprint emissions that you will be emitting by taking that flight. The social part of ESG has to do with fair pay, with living wages, when it comes to, for instance, a business paying its employees. It also refers to equal employment opportunities, to employee benefits, to workplace health and safety. Actually, ESG started as a health and safety standard. Community engagement, engaging the local community is very important. Think about a hotel where you do not engage with your local stakeholders. And I'm sure Debbie will be talking about that in detail, how you engage local communities. Responsible supply chain is also important, transparency, accountability, but also adhering to any law, including labor laws, including laws pertaining to, for instance, maternity leave or paternity leave. And last but not least, governance criteria have to do with your corporate governance structure, your risk management, your compliance, again related to, to laws and legislations, ethical business practices, avoiding conflict of interest. I've seen many businesses just focusing on one pillar of ESG criteria, mostly on the environmental, because as I said, it's very easier to monitor, easier to measure, easier to report. But what we've seen from our studies and from our work is that all three pillars are very much interrelated. So if you're not adhering, for instance, to a labor or environmental law, this is very much related to your governance structure because ESG actually starts from the top. So if you're a business owner or, a tourism entrepreneur, and you're just starting out, these are issues that you should be including into your strategy and your risk management mitigation. So again, some people think that, ESG is CSR meaning corporate social responsibility. You can see the evolution of the issues that are that we have talked about in corporate governance and corporate entrepreneurship over the years, but ESG is very different from CSR because ESG is very much measurable, and ESG is also very much based and aligned with a lot of global goals and principles, including the SDGs that I mentioned, but there are also very specific frameworks, reporting frameworks, very specific ratings, verification, auditing services, but it's also becoming very mandatory. So if you are even a small business, a small supplier, you must have heard about CSRD, a directive on corporate social responsibility by the European Union. And I know I don't have a lot of time, so I will just keep it short and will not bore you more with frameworks. But I will just mention a little bit of, how all these sustainability issues that we talked about are very much related to the hospitality and the tourism sector. So you might have heard about the White Lotus effect. White Lotus is a very popular TV series. There are 3 seasons, all based in different locations. And because of the effect and the popularity of this season, each location that each season is based at, there's this huge over-tourism problem. So the last season was located and filmed in Koh Samui in Thailand. So Thailand has seen, an enormous increase of ratings of tourism bookings and a lot of over tourism, not only on the island where it has been taking place, but also overall in the country. So sustainable tourism is a notion that we should be talking about, and the course that we have crafted works on. Because these are sustainable practices that could be and should be implemented by the tourism industry to minimize the negative impact on the environment and culture and contribute to the local economy and ecosystem. There are a lot of things that you can do to protect as a business owner, but also as a tourist, to protect nature, because you can minimize pollution, waste, energy use. There are so many best cases that you can refer to and do that. You can also support conservation efforts. I'm sure Debbie with Oman Sale will be talking about that, what they've been doing in Oman. But there are also a lot of work to be done on empowering the local communities. Again, this is very much related to sustainability, very much related to ESG criteria. if you are reporting if you are producing a report, or you are producing a report to show to the bank or to investors. But there are also a lot of options that you can have as a tourist, as a consumer, choosing green hotels, ecologies, but also being a sustainable tourism and consumer every single day, not only through the choices that you make during your vacation time, but also through the choices that you make every day. So that's it from me. I'm looking forward to any questions. I hope I have not bored you and I have not taken too much time. So thank you.
Thank you, Christina. I don't see any questions at the moment on the chat. Please feel free to write your questions or comments. And checking the time, we're kind of late, so I will move forward to our next session. We have a presentation by Ms. Debbie Richardson. She's a sustainable leader at Oman Sail. She will share insights on embedding sustainability into tourism operations. We're very glad you're here with us today, Debbie. Over to you. The floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm here in Muscat in Oman, where I'm lucky to call my home. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a flavour, first of all, on who Oman Sail Sea Oman is. So then I can go into how we contribute to the blue economy and how we work with the local community, NGOs, multiple different stakeholders to try and protect our largest asset after our start, which is the ocean. And there you go. So Oman Sail was established 16 years ago under His late Majesty to reignite the maritime eminence. We have 3 sailing schools across Muscat, Masana and Sur. Predominantly, we teach Omani youth how to sail, try sailing. We are accredited by World Sailing. And there is a pathway all the way to the ultimate goal of one day an Omani winning an Olympic gold medal. Like you've heard about the United Sustainable Development Goals, we contribute through our operations, whether that's our day-to-day activities or delivering events, and that's interconnected with Oman Vision 2040. But how do we deliver our mission? So ultimately, we teach male, female, abled, disabled, and we work with the local stakeholders for sponsorship. So we actually, Oman Sail, our shareholder is the Oman Tourism Development Company, Omran. And so we are reliant upon gaining sponsorship, which in this agenda at the moment, we are able to showcase our impact with sponsors in regards to their social license to operate. Going back to Matrix, we are able to showcase how many people we've interacted with, whether that's through delivering an international event, whether that's hosting a sport event. We work with local SMEs. We think about the circular economy and the in-country investment. And actually, Oman Sail has become so good at hosting international events for sailing that we work very closely with the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth, and we form part of the local organising committee for delivering other events like the World Athletics Race Walking or Hockey Fives or Muscat Marathon. And all of these events are targeting tourists, mass participation, because we know that we can attract these sports professionals to come to Oman to be able to participate in the sport that they have passion in, but we know that they will then extend their stay and they will go and explore, and adventure tourism is very big here in Oman. Within our actual operations for sailing, we always try to deliver a clean regatta. Okay, so historically, we've always made sure that we issue reusable water bottles, that actually we have the 5-gallon water dispensers, and we say to the sailors before they go on the water that they have to refill up their water bottles. We deliver environmental awareness sessions in which we have partnered with the Environment Society of Oman, and they've delivered training to upskill and train our staff to deliver those sessions, whether that's in English or in Arabic. We always deliver within our events and to mark International Days beach cleans. And actually, went one step further in 2021 when we gained a Guinness World Record for the most nationalities collecting litter in Messana for the Youth World Sailing Championships, which was 73, which is pretty amazing, to raise awareness about the global problem of especially plastic waste on beaches. We've also made sure, as of last year, we started to implement trophies that are made out of recycled plastic with a local SME. And again, that's very much about raising awareness and embedding environmental themes throughout the whole of an event. And last year, we were very proud to gain the gold level clean regatta status through Sailors for the Sea, which is an international accreditation where we had a checklist of things that we had to tick off to showcase that this regatta was clean. We also have Sea Oman as part of a brand of Oman Sail. Okay, again, it's been in operation for 16 years. We have a base here in Almij, Muscat, and also in Messana. And every day we take dive boats out to a location called the Deligianni Islands, which is a protected area, rich in coral, guaranteed to see green sea turtles. And at special times of the year, you're guaranteed to see whale sharks. It's absolutely beautiful. And actually, we have a lot of, again, tourists that visit that say it's just as beautiful as the Maldives. And our team, which is very rich in upskilling and training local Omanis, so it's 100% operational delivery by Omanis. We're very proud to have Azan, who was our very first PADI dive instructor. And we try to make sure that within our operations, we're always thinking about eco practices. So we are a Green Fins digital member. What does that mean? That means as a customer, when you come to snorkel or dive with us, we will make sure that we brief all of our customers about the importance of not touching the coral, not touching the turtles, and actually to bring their reusable water bottle. And we encourage them all to wear reef-friendly sun cream. Because as you can imagine, we're one tour operator of around about 40 that goes to these very precious protected islands. And if we are not wearing protective sun cream, then we're causing damage to the coral reefs. The coral reefs and the health of them is at the heart of our operations for Sea Oman. If they are not healthy, we will not be able to attract tourists and take them to the islands. And we have been talking with multiple different stakeholders internally in Oman and also internationally about what we can do. And we recognise we're not the experts. But again, we've partnered with the Environment Society of Oman, the only NGO that focuses on the environment here in Oman. We supported them in regards to a grant that they have received from the National Geographic Society and their technical partner, which is the New York University of Abu Dhabi. And only last week, we hosted a workshop where we upskilled and trained people within the region, including our own staff, about the ROP-ME method. Now, this is really, really important. This is a method that's used within the region about how we can monitor the coral reefs so we can learn about their resilience and ultimately protect them. Now that we have been trained in how to monitor and capture that data, we will therefore in Oman be able to compare this data within the rest of the region in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, the UAE. And that's really important because our dive boats go to those locations every day. And we have seen an increase in eco-tourists, people that want to give back on their holiday. And imagine how rich it would be to be able to come and participate in part of this reef monitoring. And what we want to be able to do is capture that data and then share that data out so that those customers that were with us can see the impact and part of the global community and research that they've been a part of. Also at the heart of our operations is making sure that there is equality, making sure that we have women, in particular Omani women, that are underwater tour guides. And actually there is a massive gap here. So we've partnered with Oman and the Oman Tourism College, and within the next couple of months, we're going to be offering training to women that have finished and graduated from the Oman Tourism College who want to work in the marine industry to try diving, with the ultimate goal of training them to be dive masters, qualified by PADI, and learned also how to be a diver and also a boat captain. So with these skills that they will actually learn, they can then either start up their own business, or they can secure work with the multiple different tour operators that are here. We've gone one step further in regards to our passion for plastic and eliminating single-use plastic. And this is all about thinking in innovative new ways. So we're very proud that in the next couple of months, we're going to be launching the very first precious plastic muscat. Precious plastic is part of a global initiative where it's talking about using different recycling methods to recycle plastic. So you would be able to, as a customer, come and pay a small fee for an hour's interactive session where you would learn about the 7 different types of plastic. And within the lab, you would have an opportunity to recycle 3 different types of plastic and turn it into a new product that you could take away. As part of this journey, we will be very much embedding ocean literacy, the global problem of plastic in the ocean, and the problem here in Oman. And there will be call to action in regards to how, as a local or a resident, or even a tourist, if you're just staying for a short period of time, how you can recycle your plastic or your cardboard, again, promoting local SMEs and the circular economy. But we're not stopping there. Our aspirations are always big, especially when it comes to contributing to the blue economy. So we have a great proposal, which we're still trying to secure funding. And we've been talking to local fishermen in Sib, which is about 10 minutes away from us, where we know there's over 2,400 fishermen. And we know that sometimes fishermen will have to disregard their fishing net at sea. We don't want there to be any blame, but what we want to offer is a recovery service. Imagine if we were able to use our dive boats and staff to go and recover a ghost fishing net to ensure that it doesn't cause any more harm. And if the net is in a good enough condition, we will give it back to the fishermen. If not, we've partnered with a company here that will store the nets, as a country we're still looking to how we can recycle them, especially in country, if not exporting them. These are all examples, by the way, of the Oman Sail team and Sea Oman team collecting nets that have been recovered from the sea or through the beach. So to wrap up, if there's anything that I'd like you to take away from this session, is to think about how you can contribute and the real power of relationships. And that could be local relationships or international best practices. Encourage you to talk to people. And I know in some countries you will have to adapt and change, but most importantly, think about dynamic proposals. Think about who your potential sponsor would be and how you can support them, especially with their social license to operate. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. That was so inspiring to see all these amazing achievements and all these amazing initiatives of yours. Without any delays, we will have to move forward to Mr. Allard Marx. He's the CEO of AETHIC, a pioneering brand in eco-certified products for tourism and leisure. Mr. Allard, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. We can see the first slide of your presentation, but we cannot hear you. Mr. Allard, we cannot hear you. We can see the first slide only. Really sorry for the delay. Technical issues always come up. We cannot hear you. Your microphone is muted. We still cannot hear you.
Now you can hear me.
Fantastic. We can hear you now.
Okay. I was in presentation mode and then I couldn't get the microphone back on.
That's okay.
There we are. Right. Well, just picking up from Debbie, and thank you very much for the introduction. I'm just going to give you some context first and some backdrop of the environment that we're working in with our business, our sunscreen business. And then I'm going to make some general observations, just some thoughts about communications and actions and how the two relate. And then finally, I will come back to our own brand and how we've implemented some of those thoughts. First of all, we live in a really murky world. I mean, the focus for the ocean is very much on plastic pollution. And that's a great start because obviously it's very important and we can see the plastic. However, I wonder how many of you know that 80% of the world's sewage goes into the ocean untreated. 80%. And in that sewage are all the medicines people have taken, all the personal care products that they've used, et cetera, all ended up in the ocean. Only a couple of years ago, I think it was Spain that has actually forbidden the use of shampoos on its beaches because shampoos too damage ocean life. In our case, and specifically coming now to sunscreens, it only takes one drop of a harmful sunscreen to start a viral epidemic in coral. These are dormant viruses that already exist in the coral and which then become epidemic and they become viral, they grow, and you can decimate a whole reef just with 1 or 2 drops of the wrong sunscreens. And when you take all the coral death in 1 year, of course, 90% of it is due to global warming, but the other 10% is due to sunscreens. And we'll come on to that very specifically with the next couple of slides because greenwash is killing the ocean. Even today, I've heard people talk about biodegradable and reef-friendly products. Sadly, reef-friendly products are totally unlegislated. They are uncontrolled. So a vast number of brands are claiming to be eco-friendly and reef-safe without any scientific evidence to support those claims. And they do it by saying they're biodegradable. And in fact, things can degrade, they can dissolve, they can disperse, and still do harm. So biodegradable is meaningless, absolutely meaningless. Or they say, we're using mineral sunscreens. That sounds very natural, sounds very nice. Well, those mineral sunscreens are still made in factories, and they're still coated with other chemicals. And zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, which are the two that are mostly used, are harmful to marine life. They create hydrogen peroxide, which kills phytoplankton. They kill the coral. So there's no control, there's no legislation, there are no standards. In fact, there's a lot of unsubstantiated reef-safe claims. We reported 80 brands to the Federal Trade Commission, which said reef-safe, reef-friendly, marine-safe, etc., and we couldn't find any evidence to support that. So as I sit here today, and I'm actually on the Mediterranean, I'm in a house on the west coast of Italy, so I may have said that I'm based in the Netherlands earlier, but today I'm actually on the Mediterranean, and that's what inspired myself and a number of other people to get going and do something about this issue. The Mediterranean does have coral, by the way. It's hardly ever spoken about. It used to be very plentiful in the Mediterranean, the coral, but it's still there and it's still important. It still needs to be protected. So a number of general observations. Please, let's rely on science. Let's increase the reliance on science. Let's have credible science. Let's have credible scientists coming up with evidence to support claims and for the work we do in coastal regions. Let's not believe journalists who summarize things in a very superficial way. Let's not rely on hearsay or people's impressions or opinions, but let's rely on science. Having said that, even if we rely on science, and this is one of the takeaways, one of the things that I've learned during this whole process is that facts alone don't mobilize people. People are not motivated by facts. what mobilizes them is emotions. So we have to find the way in our communications and our branding of taking facts and interpreting them and presenting them in a way which mobilizes people emotionally. And that is a very important aspect of communications and the job that I hope some of the listeners are now engaged in working on coastal tourism. So always think about all those aspects, which I think were covered by Odysseas earlier. But remember that it's emotions that make people move. And coupled with that, we're living in an age where people think of themselves first more than ever. And as I've got older, and you can see my white hair, I think that's become more and more acute. Societal thinking and societal living and civilization in the way that it was always envisaged has become slightly fragmented. People are thinking of themselves first. So unless we have a proposition which satisfies people first in what they want to do, in what they want to enjoy, and how they want to experience things, we will never engage them in improving things for the environment and for the ocean in particular. So those are very important aspirations and aspects for us to consider, I think. And as we work to elevate our dolphin logo to the heights of the Nikes and the Apples of this world, which is our ambition in the personal care and skincare sector, we've had to focus exactly on those things and think of the customer and the consumer first. So the protection for the sunscreen has to be fantastic. That's what they want from a sunscreen. It has to protect well first. We want to keep marine life alive. And it's not just coral. As coral, as we know, most of you will probably realize, coral only covers 0.1% of the ocean bed, but sustains 25% of marine life. And then everything we do has to be proven and supported by science and evidence. And that's what we did. We did compatibility testing. And this is the first time I'm using this word. So forget biodegradable. It's irrelevant. It's about whether things are compatible. And the same applies to humans. We're not compatible with every human. We're compatible with some humans and some people that we get on well with because we have things in common. So something that is natural on land is not necessarily compatible with marine life. There are lots of substances which are organic, natural, which if you take one drop will damage your health very badly. And I'm sure a lot of the ladies on this group as well will know that some skincare products they use on their face, although natural, might give them a reaction, others do not. So compatibility testing is a crucial aspect here. And that's what we did. And that's how we came to have the world's only 100% proven and patented eco-compatible formula. And in fact, Debbie, I've had some conversations with Oman Sail in the past, and I would love to have some more with you because I really respect the work you're doing in protecting the reef. And I'm very keen you do that with a product that really is compatible with that reef. So the result of all that work is that we have the only sunscreen in the world that is proven and patented reef safe. It's available in 4 different formats. And to conclude, I would just like you to have an opportunity to see a video we produced recently, which is the culmination of all our work and which brings it all together, I hope, in an emotional way.
With the first light of dawn, our ocean bond begins. Every ripple, every crashing wave is a call to respect and preserve this vast living body of water. As we push our limits, the thrill transcends mere sport. It's a profound affirmation of life at one with the ocean. Our ritual starts with AETHIC. It's not just about protecting our skin. It's also about a sunscreen that respects ocean life the way we do. But the breathtaking world beneath the waves needs our help, as countless corals fall victim to harmful sunscreens daily. With AETHIC, we become more than ocean champions. We become its guardians. Each drop is a statement that we choose a reef-safe sunscreen with proof we can believe in. We stand together, in love for the ocean reflected in the care we take for ourselves, for each other, and for the life that unites us all. Join us. Take a leap for the ocean.
Thank you.
Amazing presentation, Mr. Allard. We will move to the Q&A. There is one question for Debbie. How has Oman Sail worked to involve local authorities, the local community and tourists in the Precious Plastic Initiative? And what lessons have you learned from these efforts so far? Do local authorities support your actions?
Hi, that's a really good question. So the Precious Plastic Initiative, we have partnered with a local SME called Resolutions. They're a very small SME, so to be fair, we're both on a learning curve. Shams, the lady that I'm mainly working with, I think we've almost become sisters because we've had a lot of challenges along the way. We have had support and interest so far in what we're doing, because this is taking a lengthy process for us to do. It's not you know, something that's on the shelf that you can pick off and just follow the guidelines. So if I was to give you a snippet of information here, that we have budget restrictions. So we're currently reusing and upcycling our ventilation from our kitchen that we no longer use to actually use within the recycling lab, which tells a great story. And we've got support from our workshop guys who are very technical. If they can fix and build boats, they can certainly help with the innovation of the lab. We have had a lot of interest. We've also had a lot of criticism actually as well. So I was at an event and somebody said, "Why are you doing that? That's not your job." And actually I challenged them and I said, actually, it is our job. It's everyone's job to raise awareness and educate the youth, especially here. In Oman, to gain buy-in when we actually do officially launch, because at the moment we're just sorting out further the ventilation and testing the machines, so it should be within the next 2 months, hopefully. There's culturally, to get the buy-in, it's about having an opening ceremony where you have a guest of honor, that you invite VIPs. We'll launch with a video showcasing the journey we've been on, and actually, like we've heard today, it's about the emotion that goes with that as well. We've already, we have great relationships with schools because we work with a number of schools around the sailing schools. So there's already an appetite there for people to come and visit. And I think we also are very blessed with a really good marketing team that will help us to make sure that we are marketing and targeting correctly, not just the local community, but also tourists. It does help that it will be located in Al Mouj Muscat, which is a marina that is really popular. So behind me now, the dive boats are all coming back, and there must be easily over 150 people that would be walking past, and we can start raising more awareness about this new activity and how they can get involved. What lessons have you learned from these efforts so far? To have patience, to be able to I think it's the abilities to understand within your business, and because we are sailors, because we have a workshop, it's about optimizing staff and getting their buy-in. So to help get their buy-in, we have actually physically gone to the SME that we have partnered with to see their operations of their sorting area and understand how they recycle. We were also able to, as part of the funding we received, we went on a site visit to Daman, to ISDA, where there is a precious plastic, and that probably was the most powerful because the team actually got to see a precious plastic in operation and got very excited about what we could do. It's just in Daman in Saudi, they had so much more money and they had so many different molds, and they're all really excited. And I've said, as long as we are able to make this a success and potentially we might be able to get another sponsoring board, then with the money that we get, we would be able to buy more molds. So most importantly, it's about taking your people on a journey, and internally and externally.
Amazing. There is one more question. It's for Mr. Allard. How do you brand your product in ways to overcome the tsunami of greenwashed products in the market?
That's a very, very good question, and one we grapple with a lot, because again, first of all, we have to communicate that this product protects people well first. because remember, it's about them first and the environment second. So that's the first challenge. The second one is we would like to think that sooner or later there'll be some legislation to stop people from lying. And the other aspect is that we are emphasizing the fact that we're the only people with a patent. And we've developed this little gold seal on the front of the pack. It's very highly visible. It implies quality visually, but it actually says it's 100% proven and patented, only world's formula. So that's the only way we can do that. What we then need is a few millions of dollars or euros or whatever currency you like to communicate that and put it out there and reach more people. And that's the challenge, the biggest challenge of all, really. The messaging is ready. We need more and more resources to make more and more people read it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Allard. Unfortunately, I'm checking the time and we don't have any more time for questions for now, because we have to move on to branding strategy and future of coastal tourism. We have a presentation by Konstantinos Galatsopoulos, who is the CEO of Surf Club Keros, and he will share insights on building authentic, sustainable coastal brands. The floor is yours. I would like to ask the audience to add their questions, and we will have in the end, after also Mr. Konstantinos Triantafillis' presentation, a few more time for questions. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm Konstantinos Galatsopoulos. I'm sharing my presentation right now. Hold on. Can you see my presentation?
We cannot see it now. Maybe.
Nope. Hold on.
Try one more time. Perfect. It's loading.
Okay. All right. As I've said, I'm Konstantinos Galatsopoulos. I'm the co-founder and owner of Surf Club Keros. I really think of myself as a lifetime surfer and traveler. So as a surfer mainly, I would like to tell everyone that operating a sustainable business has two primary aspects. The first one is the business aspect that has to do with, a lot of figures, charts, and diagrams that we have already shown to you. And the second one is a personal aspect, which is, from my point of view, the deep, always present need for an interaction with an unspoiled environment in its purest form. And although I find the personal aspect extremely meaningful and rewarding, I will try today to analyze the business aspect. Anyway, from our point of view, sustainability has three main aspects: the environmental aspect, the social aspect, and the financial aspect. The environmental aspect has to do with the location of the business. We have to, a coastal business actually lives and operates in a place that its pure importance and that its huge significance is its location. So it has to do with the company's own existence. So we have to protect environment. So coastal areas are, in any case, very sensitive ecologically, and we have to show a huge commitment to preserving natural resources. In turn, preserving natural resources and attractions bring tourists and bring profits to our businesses. The second one is the social aspect of sustainability, which means that a company's support for the local community through fair labor practices, sourcing local goods, promoting cultural heritage, actually helping local community to evolve financially, fosters goodwill, strengthens relationship with locals mainly, and ensures local long-term economic benefits for both the business and the local population. Moreover, such business initiatives lead to the respect of heritage, moral and cultural ethics of local social ecosystems and consequently their cultural integrity, which is extremely important. And it's what I will show you later. It's modern travelers looking for. One more very important thing is that a coastal touristic company that embeds sustainability into its brand can differentiate itself in a crowded market. There are so many brands out there. The competition is huge. So one way of differentiate yourself from the other brands that compete with you is to build a reputation for responsibility and innovation. That lead in a stronger customer loyalty, positive word of mouth, and partnership with like-minded organizations or even government initiatives. Okay, governments and international organizations in the past decade or so seem to be increasingly supporting of sustainable tourism through grants, certifications, and tax benefits. EU is a huge example of that. A company with sustainability at its core DNA, is better positioned to access such support and meet evolving environmental regulations. All of those can ensure long-term business viability. This forward-looking approach ensures that business remains viable and respected for years to come. Last but not least, I left it as last because I think it's the most important, is the appeal to eco-conscious travelers, also known as sustainable, responsible, or even green travelers. So what is it all about green travelers? It began with ethical spending across Europe, which has doubled in the last 10 years. There is a growing global demand for eco-friendly travel. This is a demand by individuals who intentionally seek out tourism experiences that minimize negative impacts on the environment and local communities while maximizing positive contributions. The characteristics of these customers are, first of all, that they're the age. They are especially among millennials and Generation Z travelers, although older generations are increasingly adopting eco-conscious habits as well. What are their values? The environmental sustainability, the social justice, the cultural authenticity and ethical consumption. What is their education and income? Very often, but not absolutely, well-educated and willing to spend more on sustainable options. What are they looking for? First of all, they look for authenticity, authentic cultural experiences. They don't like mass tourism. They prefer immersive activities. They prefer staying with local families, participating in traditional workshops, or volunteering in community-based conservation projects. They also look for wildlife and natural conservation. Many are passionate about protecting biodiversity and are wary of unethical wildlife tourism. They don't like and they actually avoid activities like captive dolphin shows or poorly regulated marine safaris. Most importantly, they do prefer slow and mindful travel. They emphasize on quality over quantity. They prefer to visit fewer destinations for longer stays and deeper and more authentic cultural engagement. What do they expect from touristic brands? Transparency, clear information about sustainability practices, carbon offsets, and same-minded partnerships with other companies or crusaders in the same crusade. They want to see certification and labels. They want to learn. They want to hear stories. They value learning, and they would love the storytelling of the past and the vision of the future to come. They do like to engage. They would do like to participate in environmental efforts like beach cleanups or coral reef monitoring. They would like to gain the experiences, and through these experiences, we enhance the loyalty to the brand. Now, all these lead to a need for a green branding. So, what is this need for green branding? First of all, the reality shows that the future is emotional. The future is responsible, has to be responsible, and it's driven by the quest for a healthier world. A business company like that, the branding of a business company or of a business like that can play a significant role. Every company could use its influence to make an impact on this crusade on issues that really matter, like climate change and global warming. That means that the right brand taps into the emotion of a target audience, drives action, and cultivates change. But most importantly is that a great brand, a green brand, is a manifestation itself. It's a manifestation of a human condition, and it's about convincing customers that they belong to our environmental responsible tribe. When people connect with sustainable brands, they also show the world that they care about sustainability, and they join a gigantic community of eco-friendly people. Lastly, what we need as tools for communication and branding, green branding, is our tone and messaging. Brands should use authentic, positive storytelling, highlighting real efforts and community voices, rather than vague greenwashing that can be met anywhere by too many companies across the world. They could use a certain visual identity as natural color palettes, imagery of preserved landscapes and local people, and clean, simple design appeal to this audience. And online behavior. It's extremely important because eco-conscious travelers, especially the younger ones, research extensively online. Reviews, sustainability blogs, and user-generated content, especially on Instagram and TikTok and maybe other social media, significantly influence their choices. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I will move quickly to Mr. Konstantinos Triantafillis. He's the General Manager at Mindhaus. he will share his presentation with us now. Mr. Konstantinos, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. It's a bit blurry, the sound, but we can hear you.
Great.
If I can jump in, it might be best if you can wear headphones, because I think the mic is a little bit problematic.
Mm. If I have to wear headphones, I will need 5 minutes because I have not in my office currently. Do we have it?
Yeah, well, we do have 5 minutes, I think. Odysseas?
Do we have another presentation after that?
No. It's our last presentation for today. I was wondering if the audience has any more questions for our previous speakers. Please add your comments or your questions on the chat. Technical issues happen at all webinars.
I actually have a question to Kostas Galatsopoulos about Club Surf Keros. And I know that the surf club, I think, is part of a wetland in Limnos, right?
Yep.
Is it very close to a wetland?
Sorry, what? I can't hear you.
Is the surf club Keros close to a wetland in Limnos? A
Yes.
preserved, yes. So are there any nature conservation efforts that you undertake to protect the environment and the wetland?
Yes, actually, we have a few collaborations with organizations and teams that are trying to preserve the wildlife in Limnos, and which is especially meaningful for us because, as I said, we live and we interact in this environment. So there are a lot of attempts and a lot of effort towards this direction. Especially with wounded wild animals of the area, and especially and most importantly with the local communities fishermen and their actions for sort of more ethical fishing, which is extremely challenging. But seeing all these efforts for the past decade, I think that we are making a slow progress on this section.
Thank you, because I have visited both Club Surf Keros, but I've also visited. I have worked with Debbie and Oman Sail. So I've been and since as an institute we work a lot on the hydrosphere issues, wetlands, water, nature conservation. These are commonalities no matter the geography. So we're talking about an island in the Mediterranean, and Oman is, on the Indian Ocean, the Gulf. So I see the commonalities, and I mean, obviously, wildlife is very important. Seaweed is important. The Mediterranean coral reefs are more important in the GCC countries, but commonalities exist, and it's great to see Allard and how he promotes the eco-friendly, the reef safe rather sunscreen, because what I get as questions or statements for many businesses is that there are no solutions, or they're not products to use, but obviously there are. And there's another question from Fanny about greenwashing. she's asking whether there are any safeguards in the mission charter to prevent greenwashing by signatories who only signed for visibility and other motives. So Spyros is not here to talk about the mission ocean, but since I have worked on the mission charter, there are specific questions to answer as a signatory before submitting your commitment and your proposal. Of course, when it comes to some financial commitments, this cannot be checked, but most of the actions, or I would say all of the actions, are very much aligned to the mission ocean and waters, because there are certain objectives that you have to check before submitting the mission charter commitment. We, as both as an institute and as the CoastalPro project, we are signatories of the mission charter, and we are a part of Objective 3, which is promoting and safeguarding a blue economy with sustainable practices, but also promoting ocean literacy. So no, the mission charter or the mission ocean and waters does not promote greenwashing, by no means.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you very, very much for your answer. As we're waiting from Mr. Triantafillis.
I think, do you
Oh,
hear me better?
perfect. Fantastic. And you can share your presentation.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Sorry for the apologies for the inconvenience.
No worries, it happens. You're here with us now. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. First of all, I would like to introduce myself to the audience, and before that, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to participate on this day. And I had the opportunity to hear and listen some insightful presentations from all the participants. Now I'm representing Mindhaus. Mindhaus is a tourism marketing company and a consulting company in the field and the sector of tourism. We are part of Vento Greece, and Vento is also part of Second Gate, a global strategic communication and advocacy group. We have been working since 2017, when Mindhaus was launched, with several brands in Greece and abroad in the tourism industry in general, from destinations to hospitality and marinas and real estate agencies. So why tourism? First of all, I would like to set some facts, how I see tourism, how we see tourism. Tourism is a global industry. It knows no geographical boundaries, so it's something that it is really, let's say, extrovert. In tourism industry, we have the involvement both of private and public sector. Private businesses, private sector is doing their job, their promotions, their product. So they want to sell their services and products. On the other hand, also the public sector, destinations, or other authorities are doing their part, promoting the business. So it's something collaborative. They're working separately, but also sometimes we have partnerships between private and public sector. Thirdly, tourism is not only solely a business, is not only about tourism businesses. There are many cases that businesses from other sectors are being attracted by tourism industry, and they want to correlate themselves, their businesses, with tourism sector. In Greece, allow me a few data about the importance of tourism in Greece, in Greek market. These are the statistics from the end of 2023, as we are waiting for the figures of 2024. Tourism contributes almost approximately the 20% of the gross domestic product of Greece, and it contributes to employment approximately 19.5%. 810,000 people are employed in tourism industry, and the revenues coming from tourism is approximately 20 billions, excluded the cruise receipts. And we had 32.7 million visitors in Greece in 2023. Now, we're talking about branding, we're talking about brands and marketing. What is brand? Your brand, according to Jeff Bezos, is what people say when you are not in the room. So it's your, let's say, your feeling, the essence, the reputation that that your brand sends as a message to the potential, to the audience. So Warren Buffett said that if you lose the money, then I will understand. If you lose your reputation, it affects the brand, so it will be, I will be ruthless. So what makes your business, your organization, your place unique and different, and what it is important and what you offer as and it is important for the target, for your target group, then in the middle we have your brand. It is your brand. Your brand, the brand is a set of expectations, the memories, the stories, the relationship that you build for the consumer. Sometimes, many times, we have, let's say, a confusion between logo and brand. Logo is not a brand. The brand is not the logo. First of all, when we're talking about marketing and brand, we have to set the experiential product, the product, what we offer as an experience, as a product. Talking about tourism, talking about coastal tourism, we mainly talk about experiences. So we have set and we follow, let's say, 4 steps in order to productize, to set the principles of the experience. First of all, we have to know the customers and the place that we are operating, the destination, the region that we are operating. Secondly, we have to design the experience, to choose the type, to choose a storytelling, to plan how we will offer it. And then we have to develop it, to create an itinerary, to select the partners, if we offer something with external partners, or if we create something in ourselves. Then we set the principles, and we set the suppliers and the providers, and we, let's say, do the market position. We market and we position in the market the experience. And then we have not to forget to marketing our experience. And when we're talking about marketing, we mean about not only the experience, the product, but also the cost, the price, and the promotion activities that are necessary to promote our product, our offering, our experience. Then when we promote, when we have the product, we have the marketing, when we have the product, we have said it, then we have to talk about branding. Branding is what is visible and what it is visible to the audience. We talk about the verbal and the visual identity of our product to the audience. It's the logo, it's the name that we have, it's all the patterns, all the colors that we use in order to market and to promote our service, our experience. When we're talking about branding, there are several options there in terms of architecture that you can that a business, a destination, or a company can use for the brands. We can talk about monolithic brands. We can talk about endorsed or freestanding or hybrid methodologies. It depends on the business strategy and on the business goals. Then, having discussed about the product, having discussed about the branding, then we have to consider the marketing part of the business. And when we are talking about marketing plan in tourism industry, then we have to take into consideration the customer journey. The customer journey consists of these 6, let's say, steps. The first step is dreaming. It's a phase that the prospect traveler is dreaming of the next vacation, of the next tourism experience that they will have. It's a time of thinking. Then we go to the phase of planning. It's a time that when we are starting looking for the next destination, for the next experience that we will visit. And we start gathering, let's say, information for the next trip. Then we go to the phase of booking. It's a phase that we book the experience, we buy the experience. Either it is the hotel, or it is the transportation mean, or even the experiences that we will have on the destination that we will visit. Talking about coastal, then we can talk about the coastal experiences in the destination. Following, we have the anticipating phase, which is between the booking and the arrival to the destination. It's where we are anticipating it's to go to the next trip. Following, we have the experience, where it's a time period that we are visiting the place, that we're taking the trip, that we are living the experience actually. And then the reflect, it's when we leave, when let's say the trip is has ended, and we're thinking of it, and we reflect in our everyday life through digital platforms or even with friends and relatives, and we share the experience that we have with and during our trip. Talking about the customer journey when planning in marketing, we have another, let's say, level when we're talking more technical and marketing oriented level, which consists of these 5 phases. When we have a brand and when we want to market it, to position, promote it for the first time, we are in the phase of awareness. We want it to become known to the target audience. Following, after some time, we're going to the phase of consideration. The potential guests are taking into consideration our brand to buy it, to book. Mr. Galatsopoulos also mentioned earlier how we can distinct our product through sustainable practices versus competition. And then we have the purchase or the booking that we saw earlier. Retention is when someone buys for the first time our product, and the retention is when we have clients that buy again and again our service, our experience, our product. And advocacy is what we reputation that we leave to the guests after the experience. Having taken into consideration all this planning, then we have to split our audiences in B2C and B2B, to end customers and to, let's say, more business to business audience. After that, we have to create our ecosystem, our system, our channels, our channel mix, through which our messages will be split to the audience. Either it is B2C or B2B audience. Nowadays, the digital ecosystem is very popular, and most of the travelers use all these digital platforms. So a business, a destination, invests on the website, on social media channels, on newsletters and email marketing, on mobile apps, on content, and making and third-party digital platforms to sell their product. And then, having set all the touch points, we proceed, we go to the promotion, which may consist from advertising, from sponsorship, from PR activities, meta search planning, social media advertising, SEO, affiliate marketing actions, etc. It depends on the phase that a company, a brand is, and it depends on the audience and the relevant timings that communicates. And that's from my side. All these can be applied to destinations, to coastal businesses, or any other tourism activity. That's from my side. Thank you for the time. I'm at your disposal for any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. I encourage you to add your questions now to the chat box, as we only have 6 minutes left. On behalf of the Institute for Sustainable Development, EPLO, and the CoastalPro project, I would like to thank all of our speakers for giving their time and energy and attending today's masterclass. Thank you all for joining. Odysseas, do you have any remarks?
I just want to say another time that the CoastalPro platform is open. If you want to test and try, and first of all, if you want to participate as a student, you're welcome to do so. As I said, we have started on March, but there's still time for you, even if you start now, to complete the course. It's a relatively easy course, and you will be able to participate in the prizes. And I'd also like to invite any stakeholders that are with us today to reach out to us and see how we could work together from September onwards and expand the community, build new models, or expand the models that we have, and see if we can make something that will be really engaging in coastal tourism education.
Thank you, Odysseas. It's very important to all work together. There is a question from Fanny. is there a branding communicating campaign that could share with us as a best example? I guess this question is for you, Mr. Triantafillis.
Yes, thanks you for the question. Branding communication campaign. Actually, there are many campaigns, very many interesting examples around the world. But so it's very difficult to choose one. I would choose to share with you the latest one, which is a campaign that took place a couple of years ago. It was from the Greek destination, which is the region of Peloponnese. It was a communication campaign dedicated highlighting the local experiences and all the tourism product of region of Peloponnese. It was based on it was a video campaign, and it reached out a huge audience in Greece and abroad, and it is and then it was awarded by several institutions, not only in Greece but also in New York, in Cannes, etc. The campaign was called Peloponnese Beyond Obvious. I don't have the link currently that I can share, but maybe I will send it to you, Ms. Deligianni, and share with the team here.
Thank you. I'm trying to find the link. We will share it on the chat.
Yeah.
Or with the presentations when we send them over. Once again, thank you everyone for joining us today. As Odysseas said, please have a look at CoastalPro project. Oh, Fanny just added the link for the project you just mentioned, Peloponnese Beyond Obvious. Thank you to all our speakers. I know you're extremely busy. We're very grateful. Anyone would like to give us one last remark before we say goodbye? No one. Well, I will have to close it then. Sustainability is not an option. It's a mandatory thing. Please don't think just for yourselves. As Mr. Allard said, the me first culture is old. We all have to work together to sustainability, to empower all the communities, the local communities, to protect our seas, promote sustainable practices, and minimize the impact of the humans as possible. Thank you everyone for joining today. We will keep you updated through email. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.